Right now, from the
When choosing a dentist for our family, Tupelo Smiles was the answer for us. They greet us with warm smiles right when we walk in the door, and they make us feel so welcome. We love Tupelo Smiles.
Enjoy your home for the holidays with store-wide savings at Room to Room. 50% off, 48-month special financing, and as our gift to you, a free accessory buyer's card. There's something here for everyone, including gift cards. Merry Christmas from Room to Room Tupelo.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Is it cold enough for you? That's the golden question heading into the latter part of this weekend, into this weekend. Yes, Friday does feel a little bit better. Just how cold are we talking, though, heading into our weekend forecast? Well, we'll assess that here in the 6 o'clock hour. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynard, joined alongside Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubon, out in the field right now, hanging out with a few, is it Saltillians? Can you say that? Is that what it's called?
I think that works. You know, we're getting kind of ready. They have the parade coming up here in Saltillo tomorrow night. And admittedly, full disclosure, our Christmas party for Mississippi Live Weather is tomorrow night, so I'm probably not going to be able to make the actual parade itself. We'll catch them in the lineup before. And so I figured it was probably good to try to come out and see some of the folks here tonight. Vance. And I gotta show this just for my daughter's sake there. All I want for Christmas is Hogwarts. They even had their invitation to Hogwarts over there as well. In the Christmas season, a way in which these teachers and a lot of folks able to kind of, celebrate the hard work the semester here, at least in Saltillo, wraps up next week. And that's the case, I think, for a lot of schools out there. And so, just kind of excited to be seeing the Christmas holiday getting just that littlest bit closer. So Friday stays above average, not really necessarily feeling Christmas-like yet, if Christmas-like means cold air for you. But we do have more cold air on the way. In fact, extreme cold on the way by this weekend. We're going to debut a new thing, an extreme weather index. Basically, it allows us to gauge how any type of weather compares to extreme weather. Gabe will have that here in a few minutes as we can kind of show the comparison that we're looking at related to this. And we are thinking limited to no rain chances on the way as we progress throughout the next few days. So if you're needing some moisture, if you're hoping for a little bit of that, that is probably not something we have coming really anytime soon. Outside this evening here, we're coming in with temperatures at right around the 46 degree point. It does feel like 44, so that remains considerably, again, cooler. I mean, 5 degrees, I guess, isn't excessive, but it is a little bit cooler. And certainly a lot of folks there bundling up necessarily, though we have more of that on the way as we go into this upcoming weekend. Our forecast, as you can see, has us about 42s look towards 7, 39 by 10, and 38 by around 1 o'clock in the morning. Probably stalling there somewhere in the mid-30s as we look toward the first part of early tomorrow morning. You can see Polar Express behind me, and to a certain extent, that is intentionally teasing some of the cold air ahead. But this evening is cool, but not excessively cold. With 46 Tupelo and Amory, coming to about 47 degrees in Bruce, 49 in Greenwood, and 52 degrees out there, Belzona, 45 in Greenville. Wind chills, a little colder than that, but only slicing off an extra degree or two, so nothing that is too terribly excessive in that regard. Mississippi Live Weather Radar, clear and dry at this point. We do have a couple clouds out there, but no meaningful precipitation coming from any of those, as high pressure is a story down toward the coast. That next storm system in the north, you can see a little precipitation in that direction. Our next front attached to that is going to be the leading edge of some really chilly air that's going to be on the way in. And Gabe will be looking more detail at just how cold we've been talking all week long about, expected to be fairly cold. It will be once we get toward the weekend and that settles in. But the extreme cold luckily stays a little bit to the north. Just, how in between. That in a moment. So as you can see overnight, keeping it mostly clear and dry as those, again, some clouds, but still ahead of that front largely. As a result, temperatures likely to be boosted somewhere in the neighborhood of the probably mid-60s for tomorrow. So starting off after 39 degrees, be 63 by 3 p.m. at peak temperature. But notice that change in wind direction. The cold doesn't get here right away, but note how the 6 a.m. temperature, coldest part of the day at 39, and then 44, that is where we're landing at 9 p.m., meaning our coldest temperature for the 24-hour period could actually be around midnight tomorrow night. That's that cold air from the system that is settling into and through the region. Coming up in 60 seconds, we're looking in much more detail at just how cold that gets. That extreme weather index, comparing this to how that would typically assign itself as far as normal for this time of year is concerned. We're breaking that down in more detail. Again, I'm live, Saltillo Primary. They're open house tonight until 6:30 this evening. A way to just decorate and get everybody ready for the holidays. We're looking at, again, some of those pictures, I believe, holiday pictures. And Gabe has a look at an amazing sunset this evening that you submitted using the Mississippi Live Weather app. All that and more coming up in 60 seconds as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the mobile Room to Room Weather Center.
Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
The bravest thing that my dad has done has been going back to school.
It wasn't when he first enlisted, it was when he found his first support group.
The bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynard.
Well, Matt told you that we would have a fantastic sunset, and we had exactly that. And you guys, of course, submitting those pictures using the Mississippi Live Weather app gave us a great look at those skies. Diane, we're starting with you in Pontotoc County. A beautiful shot there with that orange on the horizon and those hues of orange to pink to purple to blue. I mean, it was a stunning sight. So if you missed out, well, definitely you did miss out. I mean, it's a great sky for sure. Danny, Monroe County capturing this. I always love when there's a body of water paired with it because it looks like a reflection of that beautiful sky. So I call it a double dose. You get a double dose of beauty as you take a look there in Monroe County. A big thank you to Danny for submitting this picture. And as well, Kendall and Prentice County getting a great shot with the foreground of those trees in the background of the sunset. Again, great colors right there, extending that entire color palette well into the sky directly above Kendall. But it was a great shot, great shots all across North Mississippi. And if you didn't see your shot up here, well, go ahead and submit those sunset pictures because we're going to air even more tonight because it was that beautiful. We definitely need a couple shows to showcase that here in North Mississippi. Now, as we take a look right now at those skies, it's of course dark. That's the unfortunate part about that sun setting is it does have to fully set at some point, and so those dark skies already being showcased in Monroe County, 46 degrees, dew points still around the upper 20s, so dry conditions still in place. It's definitely been a dry pattern all week long, but 46 degrees is not too bad, and those temperatures remain cold, but again, it could be worse getting into our morning forecast on our Friday. Pontotoc, 46 degrees. Those dew points actually a degree lower. So dry conditions all across North Mississippi. No one area excluded. It's just that dominant high pressure system right over the top of us. And of course, our Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling Tupelo camera, 46 degrees with 28 degree dew points. It's a beautiful sight out there in Lee County. Folks out on the roads probably heading to some of those evening plans, maybe getting some Christmas shopping done. If you have not done so, clock's ticking. You have 2 weeks, but there is still time. We're not on that Christmas Eve crunch just yet. Now, as we take a look at our drought monitor, we're talking about dry conditions. And as you can see, latest drought monitor still has some significant drought over there in Water Valley, Grenada, Oxford, and Bruce. So that's where we're continuing to sit. And even though we did get rainfall this past week, hasn't exactly amounted to much change in that drought monitor. Level 2 drought still getting into Chickasaw and Pontotoc County, and level 1 into Itawamba, Prentice, Monroe, Lowndes, and Noxubee County. But there was a little bit of a break there in North Alabama where they had a little bit more rain chances, so that's why some folks in Northeast Alabama trending a bit better, but North Mississippi, we got a 1/4 inch. That's not going to change much of anything, but luckily it didn't get worse, so we're going to look optimistically at those rain chances. Our Mississippi Live weather radar this evening stays dry once again, so nothing to track on our radar as we're not experiencing a drop of rainfall, really not experiencing any of those clouds either. Temperatures across the region do show that we are starting to trend down, cooling off into those overnight hours. Upper 40s in Cleveland, over there towards Clarksdale, Grenada, Chula, Louisville, Columbus, Tupelo, everywhere kind of uniform across the board. A few areas still showcasing some low 50s, but those will gradually change as we get into the next hour or so. So enjoy the warmer air while it's here, because it is going to be another cold evening across North Mississippi. By 6 p.m., 43 degrees. 42 by 7 and 40 degrees by 8 p.m. Clear skies remain in place all night long. That's going to allow for that heat to escape and make way for some cold conditions, especially by our Friday morning. But if you woke up and had to scrape the windshield of your car this morning, we're not going to have to do that heading into our Friday, because it's going to be cold, but not necessarily a frosty start. So again, we're looking optimistically at this forecast, and that's one thing that I would say is definitely a blessing. My wife, she was driving out of the driveway. She's like, "Gabe, you didn't tell me it was going to be frosty." I said, "Oh, I did at 10 o'clock. You're just a teacher and usually asleep by 10. So I got to start filling her in with the 411 by, I guess, 8 o'clock before she heads to bed. But looking at this Futurecast, of course, you can see those dry conditions right overhead. I would say Futurecast overdoing that cloud cover to an extent. We're pretty dry and pretty clear across the region, and we'll continue to be that way into our overnight hours. 10 o'clock still remaining with those mostly clear skies. A little bit of that winter precip towards the Knoxville and Asheville, North Carolina area. So if you're heading up to any trips to the mountains, in the next couple of weeks, may have some snowfall on the ground already. Now let's keep that going into those overnight hours. And as you can see, that cloud cover remaining well towards our north. And here in North Mississippi, we're again staying on the dry and clear side of things. And that continues into our Friday morning as well by 6 a.m. So we have plenty to enjoy. And that continues into our 6 o'clock hour. Those breezy conditions coming out of the south, that's going to knock those temperatures down just a bit, but only about 2 or 3 degrees. So those low temperatures tomorrow morning already reading in the upper 30s and low 40s, with 41 Cleveland, 40 in Clarksdale, 42 South Haven, and 39 New Albany. Work our way towards the east side. We're seeing 37 Amory, Columbus, Macon, with 35 degrees in Hamilton, Alabama. Let's add in that wind chill, and as you can see, bumping it down a couple of degrees. So even though those winds are coming in from the south, those breezy conditions still just going to make it feel a little bit colder heading out the door. Still above freezing. Again, I say we're taking a positive outlook on this forecast as much as we can, and it is still going to be above freezing for those feels-like values, but still enough to bundle up, layer up, just whatever you can do to stay warm on that morning commute. Or if you're heading to the bus stop, pickup's going to be about 39 degrees with feels-like values in the mid-30s. Drop-off, you are reading that correctly. 63 degrees by our afternoon forecast. Still with plenty of sunshine, so if you have not made plans to go outside Friday afternoon, what are you doing? You need to. It's going to be that great of a forecast, so make sure to get out there and enjoy it. Of course, the Saltillo Parade going to be at 7 o'clock on your Friday night, so make those afternoon plans and then head up to Saltillo to enjoy a fantastic parade. Now, let's go ahead and expand things out, because I want you to see the wide perspective on this. This cold front moves across our area heading into our Friday. Now, so Friday morning, we have these southerly breezes, but watch as this moves into the forecast. Primarily by that late morning, early afternoon time frame, those winds start to shift to come out of the west just a little bit more. Now, that's already bringing in some drier and cooler conditions, but as this front continues to work its way on through, by 2, 3 o'clock, we'll see those winds start to shift out of the northwest. And northwest, we know, has that colder air, and that's going to be moving into our forecast as soon as Saturday. But luckily, Friday will not be seeing those effects just yet, so it's still going to be that warm day ahead. That front not bringing any rainfall with it, maybe the occasional cloud or two, but that's the extent of what we'll see up there in the sky. So we are staying mostly clear and dry all day long. It's going to be a beautiful forecast. Can't emphasize that enough, even into our evening hours as that sun does set and we make way for that cold forecast ahead. But high temperatures on our on our Friday, definitely nothing to bat an eye over. 64 degrees, Bruce, Houston, and Amory. 65, Eupora, Greenwood, 66. I saw it, yes. Kosciuszko and Macon, as well as Columbus. So things are trending in a fantastic direction into our Friday. The unfortunate part is that warm trajectory starts to fall off once again. We're going up on that roller coaster, but that hill is not very high, but the hill down is pretty steep, and we'll see that heading into our weekend forecast. Let's keep that Futurecast going, and as you can see, those winds definitely have shifted by the time we get into our Friday night, coming directly out of the north. So if we expand this out, you can see the drier pattern that's moving in place, but also those winds shifting as a result. Then we have front number 2, and that cold front is basically, you get this colder air, and then you're like refreezing the cold air. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just going to be that cold. I don't know how to put it into terms, but it's going to be a cold front after another cold front. So you have that drop, and then you're going to have another drop on top of what those temperatures have already dropped to. If I confused you enough yet, well, let's go ahead and walk through that futurecast, and this can hopefully get you a better guide on how things will go. So heading into your Saturday morning and into the Saturday afternoon, we're still going to be dominated by those clear skies, but that front extending across the region on our Saturday going to drop those already cooling off temperatures once again. So that's where that significant cool down comes from. Keeps a lot of the moisture towards our south, and we're going to stay mostly dry here in North Mississippi once again. So 3 p.m., not tracking any moisture. At most, we will get a few of these showers, and I'll bring it back in here real quick. We'll get a few of those showers working their way into the southwest corner of our viewing area. So Yazoo City, Chula, Greenwood, Holmes, Sunflower County, not an impossibility, but even those chances, very, very minimal. So that's where the minimal part of those rain chances come from. It's basically minimal to none, and we're leaning more on the none. So that's going to be by 3 p.m. And as you can see, the front right overhead by 3 p.m. That extends through the region by as the time we get into our 6 p.m. forecast. And as you can see, potential of a sprinkle or two, but this is not going to be significant rainfall whatsoever. Maybe enough to turn the windshield wipers on that first setting. But yeah, I'm definitely not sold on this much rainfall. I think we stay much drier than what this futurecast is forecasting. So that, of course, works its way out of the region along with that cold front. And look at these breezy conditions. That's what I want you to pay attention to, is just how breezy things will get once that second front moves on through and that cold air starts to push in as a result. So Saturday will be cooler than Friday, but Sunday is where you feel that significant difference. So high temperatures on our Saturday, trending into the low to mid 50s along the Tennessee state line with 52 in Corinth, 54 in Booneville, and 55 around Oxford. Working our way south, I do see a few 60s in Grenada, Bruce, Eupora, Louisville, and 62 around Kosciuszko. But it's by the time we get into our Sunday forecast that things really start to change. Forecasted rainfall, not anything too high, a couple hundredths, yeah, not the higher end. This is going to be a very minimal impact event as it works its way on through, but as those multiple fronts clear on out, of course, bringing a lot of moisture down there towards the Gulf. Here in North Mississippi, staying mostly dry, but the temperature difference, that's where things really start to change. Taking a look at our Sunday high temperature, is colder than our Friday low temperature. So that shows you how significant of a cool down we are talking about. And it doesn't end there. Look at Sunday afternoon into our Monday morning. 18 degrees heading out the door, with that number expected to potentially drop even more. We're, of course, assessing this behind the scenes. Feel good about that forecast, but feel good is not the words that I would use. It's going to be a cold one, and one that we definitely need to layer up for and have multiple layers for any of those plans for our Monday morning. Of course, we'll be looking at this in a lot more detail here in just a moment. But before we get into that, we of course have to look at our merry and bright Christmas light. All of that coming up after the break here on Mississippi Live Weather at 6, live from the Room to Room Weather Center.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
It is December 11th, which means that we are still in our Merry and Bright Christmas Light promo, almost halfway there. So if you have not submitted your Christmas lights, definitely do so, and we will try to get it on Mississippi Live Weather and get you an appearance, because with the Christmas lights we've been seeing, they definitely need to be showed off, and this one included in that group. Paula is submitting this great photo. Love all the lights, love all the different colors. Again, appreciate the stringing of the edge of the roof right there, because I know how much of a headache that can be. Ours actually, speaking of how breezy things have been, knocked off one of the hooks. So the Maynard household got to get back out there and rehook that strand of lights to keep it back on there. And we'll probably have to make sure it stays for any breezy events in the near future. But as we also look at this yard, we do have Mary and Joseph out there with a few reindeer and the Christmas tree and, of course, the beautiful cross. Love that. Love all the candy canes too. I mean, there's so much to take in with this picture. Paula doing a great job with your Christmas lights. And not just Paula, Amber submitting this as well. I couldn't remember if we used it or not. but it was so good I wanted to use it either way. As you can see, stringing along the deck right there, you do have the turtle. Very biased to turtles growing up. I had 2 whenever I was a kid, and yeah, I always love a good turtle in the yard, especially with the Santa hat. Just sells it. I think that's an alien. No, that might be a crocodile. Now that I'm looking at it now. It looked like an alien at first from this angle. You have Olaf. I see him on the left side of your screen. Some of his snowman friends out there as well. And the candy canes. I guess we didn't get the memo about putting candy canes in the yard, but I think that that's something we need to invest in at the Manor household. Amber, again, thank you so much for participating. We have loved getting all the sights of the Christmas lights of North Mississippi. So thank you for participating in our Merry and Bright Christmas light promo. If you have not done so, it's not too late to submit. We still have 2 weeks until Christmas, and we are going to showcase all of those lights as we head into that extended forecast. Okay, I know that just breezed through everything, but we're going to break this down a little bit more detail. So let me expand things out, and you can visualize what is going to be working its way into North Mississippi. Again, this is the graphic Matt was talking about at the top of the show that basically shows the potential for extreme cold, what we're calling our beyond normal circumstances. So as we drag this out, you can kind of see that we're not expecting anything beyond normal as we get into our Friday. Friday is going to be well above average for even our high temperatures. So as we work our way into Saturday, and I'm going to expand this out by a good bit, you can see that colder air, that below normal and honestly almost to that extreme value, starts to work its way into the United States. That well up into Wisconsin and Minnesota as well as Iowa. So I know some of our neighbors from when I grew up, I'm talking when I was about 5 years old, they're going to be dealing with that extreme cold first, but they're sharing the love. Watch how this works its way towards the south. And that's really going to be as we get into our Saturday night and Sunday morning, getting as far south as the Memphis area. But again, whenever you look at the legend at the top, we're closer to that below normal side of things rather than that extreme cold forecast. So no purples in our forecast, just those light blues. You do get some of those deeper blues into the Springfield, Illinois area. So if you're traveling up north, I would say have a jacket, but that might be underdoing it. I think that we need several layers as we head to any of those plans up north. We keep that forecast going, and as you can see, Sunday morning, we're getting that cold. We're getting that below normal expected amount or expected temperature as we get out the door Sunday morning, Sunday church services. So hopefully your churches crank that heat Sunday morning, or you have more attendance to allow for some of that body heat to be radiated off. But either way, we need something to keep us warm, and we need to do that Sunday morning. And continuing into our Sunday afternoon, again, temperatures do not climb much throughout the day. In some areas along the Tennessee state line, we'll see that below normal average. But as we get into our Monday morning, yeah, you know the forecast. You saw the 7-day. Let's go ahead and get into it. As we work our way into Monday morning, I'm going to drag this all the way out until about 5 or 6 a.m. And remember those values that we saw in Springfield, Illinois? Yeah, they're going to be working their way right along Highway 45 here in North Mississippi. So feeling that same air that Illinois will feel, yeah, all the way down here in North Mississippi. But if we expand it out, you can see that there are some deeper blues still showcasing in the Illinois and Indiana area. So that's where we expect the deepest cold to be, the most extreme cold to be. Down here in North Mississippi, it's going to be below normal. It's going to be cold. But luckily, we're not getting any of those deep blues or purples that folks up north will be getting. So we'll definitely take that. But we are really appreciative of this model because it's basically telling us what is that main hazard going to be and what are the main focal points or focal areas as we get into this forecast. And we are in that focal point, but I would say we're not the bullseye, that bullseye well up into Illinois and Indiana. And this is comparing those normals or averages and showing that change. And that's where this hue is given, is based off of that change from our usual average that we get this time of year. Now, beyond that forecast, getting into our Monday afternoon, we already see those values recede and extend into the northeast and further towards the east. So we're not expecting too much of impacts as that warmer forecast does move in. So as you can see, not really much of a hazard, much of a threat. Nothing extreme about this forecast. We're going to be pretty uniform heading into the latter part, or I should say the mid part of next week. It's just going to be that beginning that we have to bundle up for. Now, as we look at that 7-day pattern, this is one of our mediagrams that showcase that. Our low temperatures off the screen Monday morning. That's how cold we're talking about, into the teens, but that gradual cool down does start Sunday with 27 degrees and Tuesday sticking around those mid-20s as we head out the door during those morning commutes. By the time we get into Thursday, 49 degrees back into the forecast. Looks a lot better and definitely will take that over the teens, so we just need to layer up. That's the best way I can put it. High temperatures, if the lows were out of the frame, then the highs are too. Sunday, our high temperature is going to be in the mid-30s. Monday, just around 40 degrees. So it's going to be an extended period of time, 36 to 48 hours, that we need to be layering up to stay as warm as possible, because this forecast is going to be chilly, frigid, brisk, however you want me to word it to get it across, cold. But as we look at our parade planner tonight, it's a great forecast. So let's bring it back again. I told you we were keeping positive vibes for the 6 o'clock show, and we are going to end it with some positive vibes. Great forecast tonight. Cold, but not as cold as what things will be in the future. 43 degrees by 6, 42 by 7, and 40 degrees by 8 with clear skies all night long. Any parades happening in North Mississippi are going to be good to go. And same thing goes for your Friday as warming trends happen back in North Mississippi. Yeah, I can see the reactions in the chat. Agree with you completely. It's that type of cold. Best way to describe it. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. Of course, I hope you guys are staying prepared heading into that extreme cold forecast. But like I said, we're ending it on a positive note, and Friday looks more than ideal. It is a perfect forecast that we need to be out there and enjoying all day long. Tonight looking good as well. Of course, download that Mississippi Live weather app to stay as informed as possible whenever it comes to the wild and, should I say, cold weather world here in North Mississippi. We'll keep you updated on that forecast, and forecasts are right at the palm of your hand. So best way to download it is through the QR codes on your screen, free and available right now. So what are you waiting on? Our next broadcast is going to be on the app as well as our social medias at 10 o'clock tonight. Cannot wait to see you guys there at watching the latest on this cold. And as we walk through our Friday morning, 6:30, 7, and 7:30 with meteorologist Maggie McCauley. She'll be tracking a great Friday ahead, as well as the latest on the cool down. But we're not going to talk about the cool down. Friday looking perfect. Pam, I'm going to end it with you. Heat, and more heat. Yeah, that's what we need. All right, you guys have a fantastic night, and we'll see you back here at 10 o'clock here on Mississippi Live Weather.
One in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. But only you can prevent wildfires.